inches long. Uh,
So for
this one
those
will
that are
be,
listening, I've got Jacob here. He just pulled out a very
yes.
unique, long, concreted bank here. Welcome to the United States Fingerboarding League Fingerboard Podcast. I'm your host, Wayne Cunningham, and I'm excited to be chatting with Jacob Thompson of Snuggle Pup.
Oh, thank you for having me on here.
For you guys that are not aware, Jacob here, he is also known as Snuggle_Pup_FB on Instagram. And he breaks some pretty fire ledges and stuff with some concretes. And so we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. But first off, let's talk about you, Jacob. Let's talk about, what's your fingerboard background? How'd you get started?
Well, like most fingerboarders, you got to have some kind of love for skateboarding. I played the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games as a kid and, had the tech decks and everything. But around 2009, I saw this YouTube video called Opus Zero. Uh, it just blew my mind. Like people were actually doing tricks with fingerboards and there's big companies. I found out about Black River and Flatface and just all that just blew my mind. And ever since then, I've been, fingerboarding, just learning and everything I can do.
So you never really stopped. So you pretty much been consistently pretty much kind of in the scene for the entire time.
Well, there was a brief period around like 2013, I stopped. Uh, and then around 2017, I went on a trip down to Gulf Shores, Alabama, of all things, and brought my fingerboards with me and just kind of fell in love with it again and found out that everything had moved from YouTube onto Instagram.
That's a pretty big shift right there. I
It was.
am kind of got like a 10-15 year like gap between when I started and then I got into it about, freshman year of high school and kind of quit for good 10-15 years. And so at the time, they were talking like 2001 when I pretty much kind of stopped doing it for a while. And then there really wasn't much going on. But if I would have known, like, by 2010, basically when you kind of got back into it or started it, like things were just like growing, like I'm kind of kicking myself for all of that, like possibilities of time that I could have been doing it at for sure.
Well, whenever I, started like into it, like in 2009, that was like the big boom of it at first. And it's kind of like how we're having now with, the whole tour and everything and all these other companies popping up left and right. Well, at the time, you had all this innovation, you had decks getting wider. That's whenever the 30 to 34 millimeter decks were coming out. At the time, 2011, the widest deck you would see is maybe like a 32 millimeter, which is like a standard size now.
Yeah, it's definitely standard 32, 34. Yeah, when I came back off of COVID, I was dusting off 25.6 millimeter old tech decks and stuff. And so like, I mean, that's original OG status, I guess you would say. But yeah, I'm kind of kicking myself for sure for basically kind of not getting back into it, or at least, checking in from time to time, I guess you'd say. Because when I came back in from COVID, like it blew my mind, like how crazy fingerboarding has gotten while I was gone.
Yeah, I still have some old tech decks from 2010 where I took a heat gun and bent the nose and the tail up like to some insane heights, like so high that you could take your fingers, stick it on the nose and tail, and just lift the board up.
Yeah, I remember those days. We take lighters and then we like pretty much melt the tail and the nose and we curl it like a French mustache, I guess you would say.
Yeah, there's still some people that make decks that are kind of like that style.
Interesting. You know anything anybody off the top of your head?
Not that I can think of right now. I remember someone was talking about it on YouTube. I know CD Playa Zero, if you've ever seen his YouTube videos, he's got some stuff like about that and the history of fingerboarding. That guy knows a lot.
He's been in
Um,
the scene for a long time.
yes, he has.
I mean, he goes like he goes almost as far back as I do. But yeah, he's been around the scene. He's been hanging out with Flatface and Mike Snyder. He's been touring a little bit with Black River, I think, in the past. I've been keeping up with his vids and stuff too. I mean, I want to say like people doing things on YouTube, outside of like us. I mean, like CD Player Zero is definitely like the guy that's up and coming right now. So if you guys are not following him, like definitely gives his vids like a go peep him for sure. Because I mean his content is high quality stuff. So not too much quality content going out in the fingerboarding industry, but he's definitely one of those contributors for sure.
Whenever I was around 2009 to 2013, I was watching this YouTube channel called Fingerskate Selective, Frankie Fingerdecks.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
I
Yeah, he was uploading 3 or 4 times a week.
That's what I've heard. I don't even know if you could still actually search for his stuff or not. I don't know if he still has an open channel.
His YouTube channel still exists. Actually, I play video games with him on occasion. Very like I think last time I played with him was maybe a year or two ago, but he still gets on Xbox and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Hmm.
I
What
haven't
are you
heard from him in a
playing?
while. We were playing GTA.
GTA? I'm a COD fan, even though it's gone downhill, but I'm still ride or dying it out. Right, add me on
Yeah,
Xbox, Ride King, by the way.
Ride King. I will.
RYDEKING.
Yeah, his stuff was just, every day, two finger Tuesday, Ask Frankie Friday, and then he would do reviews of stuff. Um, he would review all the new Tech Deck stuff because at the time, Tech Deck was just dropping new ramps, new stuff. They were dropping wooden boards with new trucks that had Hot Wheels style axles that rolled super smooth. They were trying to innovate at the time.
Back in the day, Tech Deck was supreme. Like I grew up with all of the plastic obstacles. We actually had real metal rails and stuff. Like
Yes,
we had the bowls, the Del Toro, not the Del Toro, the that
Del Mar
pool.
Pool.
Yeah, the Demar pool. That's what I'm thinking of. We had like the little stair sets, and we used to be able to like you could spend a fortune, but like we actually could build like plastic parks and stuff if you had it. And the Tony Hawk half pipe was definitely like supreme back in the
Oh
day.
yeah. I have two of those, but they recently China has access to the old injection molding.
Ooh,
So China has been putting those out for about the same price as they were. So for
oh,
like $80, you can have like this massive wide half pipe that's huge,
that's
which
crazy.
I think that's pretty awesome.
So speaking of obstacles, so tell me about Snuggle Pup. What's going on with the name? How'd you choose it?
Well, I chose the name because I have a dog that just likes to snuggle, and she's a little snuggle pup. And I was like, well, that's just going to be the name. I had a few other names, but then they were kind of already taken. People had already started stuff, and I just didn't want to have any drama with it. Um, I just, it was originally going to be called Butter Ledges.
Okay,
That was going to be the thing because, most of my stuff you've never tried it, but you will
I
soon.
will this summer.
Everyone who's tried my ledges has been just blown away with how smooth the concrete is. I mean, the molds, they're not like level ledges molds. His stuff is like top tier. I mean, he's doing stuff that's insane.
He's definitely leading the charge as far as creativity and high quality ledges for sure.
Yeah. Um, he just gets good stuff. I mean, he knows how to make it right and everything. A lot of people, when they start making concrete ledges, they just take like big bag of just regular mixed concrete, and they pour it in, and they pull it out the next day, and it just comes out all crumbly, and it's not smooth. And then all of a sudden, you got all that sand piled up in the bottom of the mold. It just
Patience is
falls
key for
apart.
sure. There's a lot of us, we want it like now, and most people don't realize like you definitely got to let that stuff sit and cure for sure.
Yeah. A lot of my ledges are they usually sit for about 4 or 5 days in the mold, and they get watered. I don't know if you've ever heard about that.
Mm-mm.
Um, so after about 24 hours, I just fill the mold with water with like what's left in it.
Hmm.
Uh, and it cures it a little bit better over time.
Huh.
Yeah, every single one of
Interesting.
my ledges has been watered. That's the thing that if you get a new concrete driveway, they tell you water your driveway. It's a crazy thing. He's like, water the concrete, it cures stronger. Uh, it's best to pour a bunch of concrete before a big rainstorm. Uh,
Interesting. This is stuff I've never, I mean, I've never been in the concrete like industry, so this is definitely news to me. I make some concrete obstacles and stuff like that as well. So this is interesting, interesting technique.
yeah, I thought I would spill a little bit of the beans on the concrete industry, or at least some of it. I don't know how the guy at Level Edges does it. I'm pretty sure he just pours it. Silicone molds make it really easy.
Silicone's the best. I am trying to work on finding molds. I'm making molds specifically, but for like concretes doing silicone, it's kind of tricky. And like my molds that I'm trying to messing with, they're not very sturdy. I can probably make maybe like six or seven like things out of it before it's just like trash. And so I'm still trying to figure out like how to make a really solid like silicone mold.
Yeah, a lot of my molds are pretty old, actually. I started Snuggle Pup around 2018. I was in high school still. Um, I didn't really have the time and place to really make it into a company, so I just put it on the back burner. And I decided to bring it back for this event and do a big in-person thing, kind of make it more personal.
That's
I don't
awesome.
know if I don't know if I'm gonna, have big online stock drops and anything like that. It's more something like, hey, come out to this event, come meet me, hang out, uh, get to buy a ledge for a fairly decent price. All my ledges, the non-painted ones, I'm gonna have them like the 11-inch ones. This is for the YouTube video, so people that are listening tune into the YouTube video to see what some of the ledges will look like. This one is a banked loaf that is 11 inches long. Uh,
So for
this
those
one will
that are
be,
listening, I've got Jacob here. He just pulled out a very
yes,
unique long concreted bank here. So if you guys are not watching the YouTube channel, you guys definitely need to check this out.
yes, it's trying to make the experience a little different because I know I've seen some of the other YouTube videos and it's just everyone sitting around hanging out. It's like give you a reason to come to the YouTube video. Um, I have one here that's painted. My girlfriend's been doing some lovely graffiti.
That is pretty
901
sweet.
M Town. We are from the Memphis, Tennessee area. Uh, if you are in that area, you should check out my Instagram page.
Definitely.
Um,
This looks fire. It's kind of got the worn look too, so I like it.
yeah, this ledge, I haven't decided on pricing for the graffiti, but the 11-inch long ledges, they will be $12 at the event. And the 6-inch loaves, I have this one right here for the people on the YouTube video.
This is definitely
The
a classic 6-inch loaf. Most
Yes,
it's a pretty popular loaf. Definitely one of my favorites.
those 6-inch loaves will be $8.
That's a
So
steal.
I want to have products that are affordable. I want everyone to just come get one, try it out. I want everyone to have something to skate on. I know that some companies, the concrete's expensive, but then again, they're making silicone molds and everything for them. And some of these companies, they'll 3D print an obstacle and then make a silicone mold of it.
I've seen those. Those are pretty cool. There's a guy out in Canada. His name is Tyler with Basic Co. He's been 3D printing his molds and he's been doing absolutely stupid stuff as well. So it's interesting to see what you guys can do with 3D printing. I kind of want to get one and kind of get into it.
You should. some of the stuff you can print, just print the mold itself
Hmm.
with the material, like the softer filaments that you can use.
Yeah, that rabbit hole goes way deep when you're talking 3D printing and what you can do with it.
But there's a lot of prep you got to do to make it right, because otherwise you have all the 3D printed mold lines and stuff.
Yeah, you
Remember
see
when you're,
those a lot. No one sands those. They're hard to sand down too.
oh yeah, whenever you make something with a silicone captures every little detail, like every little detail, every air bubble, every inconsistency, every line, every scratch. It's going to be there.
That's true. That is true. So let's talk about this Runaville collaboration that you guys got going on.
Yes,
So
me
tell
and
me about
Huber.
Runaville. What's going on with him?
So I've known Huber for quite a while now. I bought a Black Friday deal from him like 2018, and we've just kind of casually been, talking ever since. He left the scene for a little while. He moved to Hawaii, and he came back to San Diego where he lives now. And we've been talking ever since. I bought a deck from him, literally the first, like this deck. I'll show you right here for the YouTube video. I bought this Runa deck, this Runa Faker. Um, I bought it from him first thing he when he came back. I was one of the first customers, and we've just been talking. He's making concrete ledges now. He uses very similar techniques that I use. So go get a ledge from him. I think he calls them the Apollo.
Oh,
Yeah, he makes really good decks. His nose and tail are a little bit more on the low medium side,
okay.
but with slightly deeper concave. I'm gonna have 10 decks that he's sending out for me to sell at the event. Uh, they're gonna be, really cool looking. There's gonna be some Runa Faker graphics. Uh, there's going to be some more of his other graphics. He's got a lot of graphics.
Yeah, I've been
I'm
peeping
actually
his
surprised to
stuff.
see. I'm excited to see what he sends me because he's keeping it a mystery. So whenever I get the decks, I'm going to start uploading pictures of each one onto my account so you can see what's going to be there. I'm soon going to have some more photos of the graffiti on the ledges. I
That's
just
gonna be
haven't
fire.
finalized everything for the photos. I
Yeah,
should
that's
have
definitely gonna be
photos.
fire.
I should have photos up probably mid next week.
Okay, yeah, that's gonna be early. I like it.
And once he finishes the decks, they're all going to be posted on there. So everyone can see what's going to be there and everything.
And so for those that don't know, you're sharing a booth with him at the Atlanta stop on the tour,
Yes.
correct?
Yes. He sadly will not be able to be there. I'm trying to see if I can maybe get him out there. I don't know, but right now, he will not be there, sadly.
Okay, so some of his stuff will be there.
Yes. I'm basically acting like a distributor for him.
Gotcha. I was going to ask you about the whole like collaboration and the booth sharing. So yeah, so for you guys that don't know, we've got a 9-city international fingerboarding tour going down this summer. And Jacob here, Snuggle Pup, is going to be at the Atlanta stop on the tour. That's going to be July. I lied. I always mess this up. What's the tour say? June
June 4th.
4th. June 4th on the tour. So we got Atlanta, June 4th going down. We've got like 6 vendors there. So it's going to be a very packed, high energy event for sure. So if you guys haven't been peeping, definitely check out our ticket sales online. Get your tickets early, especially if you want to compete. It's gonna be a banger. It's gonna be straight fire for sure. It's like the second stop on the tour. So we're stoked. Did you make it out to last year's, right?
I did not. This will be my first big fingerboarding event.
First one, right on. I don't want to ruin fingerboarding events for you, but we've produced some pretty crazy high scale tournaments for sure.
Yeah. Initially, whenever I heard about it, I was going to try to compete into the competition, and I was like, I should bring Snuggle Pup back and bring some quality stuff out for people to get.
It's a good way to get some momentum if you're, trying to get things back up and on the road. So I mean, like having this event, being a vendor, getting that, those promo spots and kind of like giving you that nice little push that you need in the right direction for sure.
And part of the reason why I did a collaboration with Huber with Runaville uh, was because I wanted to bring some more spotlight to his company too. Share the love. I mean, if I'm going to be in an event and selling stuff, why not just share?
Definitely. I think you mentioned that you were talking about possibly starting up some events in your area. So let's talk about the area that you're at and what you're thinking about doing.
Yes, I live in the Memphis, Tennessee area. There's a skate park just south of Memphis, Tennessee in Hernando, Mississippi. It's about 30 minutes south. It's called Pigeon Park or Hernando Skate Park. It was founded by a man named Edward Pigeon. He is sadly no longer with us. Um, he used to do a bunch of fundraising to get this park out. He'd be at every farmer's market in Hernando, just trying to get people to, $20 here and there to get a new park. And then we got a big grant to get the park built. And it's probably one of the most fun flowing skate parks you can ride in the area. And they're actually right now building a street section. So right now, as we speak, recording, they are pouring concrete for the skate park. It's really cool. I used, um, sorry, I'm trying to. So they're pouring the concrete right now, and I've been in talk with the lady who now runs it instead of Edward. We're talking to the mayor about getting a fingerboard park built there. So I'm going to be funding and building a fingerboard park. That's part of the reason why I brought Snuggle Pup back to get some extra funds to build a park.
That's pretty crazy. I like it. So we're
So
talking about an outdoor fingerboarding spot that's pretty much just free and open to the public. Anybody can pretty much just pull up and kind of get a quick session on this thing.
yeah, that's the whole goal. And to also have events there. I mean, it'd be small. We would have somewhere to fingerboard. You can go skate. They have events there all the time. I mean, the day that they open the new park, there's going to be about 4 or 5 bands playing. So hopefully I can, get in good talks with the mayor and they let us build a park there.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I know there's a guy named Gary Graves who's I think it's called Cordial, Indiana. He got his city to build a skate park and they're building a fingerboard park up there as well. And so, I mean, what you're doing just based off my experience with Gary, like, I mean, you're talking about some pretty intricate details as far as getting something like that, like off the ground and actually approved and actually being like, worked on, which is crazy.
Yeah, it would have to be official through the mayor and everything like that because that is a technically a public park.
Mhm.
And to get all that done, you have to go through the politics of it and everything.
Yeah, it's a lot of board meetings, town halls, stuff like that's what I've been told. So it's not impossible, but it's just definitely a process. So the fact that you guys have made it this far on something like that is pretty crazy.
Yeah, and also it really helps that, the people from Pigeon Park are willing to, you know, help with getting that process moved along because they love skateboarding and, fingerboarding and skateboarding kind of go hand in hand and kind of have it as like a little central area and to, fingerboard and skate.
That's what I like about just, the whole skateboarding culture and stuff like that as well. I mean, fingerboarding is pretty much kind of handcuffing themselves to skateboarding. So whatever skateboarding is kind of doing right now, like fingerboarding is pretty much traveling right along with it. So it's like, you build a park, like an actual skateboard park. Now it's getting to the point where like you can't build a skateboard park without actually building a fingerboard park as well. That's what I've been kind of noticing. I like to kind of put something on my website where like you can find all these like outdoor fingerboard parks. Be kind of cool, maybe like a map or something.
That would be awesome because it is nearly impossible finding that stuff like on Google Maps or anything.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
always been an issue with the fingerboarding industry as far as like open and readily available like information, it's just it's kind of gate kept for some reason. I don't know why.
yeah, I think people are worried about people coming in and destroying it, and there is a side of skateboarding that, or some skaters that don't like fingerboarding. I don't really consider them to be true skaters because technically fingerboarding is still skating. I mean, it's just a different form.
Yeah, there's definitely a few of those that are on the great divide between fingerboarding isn't as cool as skateboarding, but for the most part, I think like everybody's pretty much down with fingerboarding.
I've not met anyone that actually skates, that knows how to skate, that was like, oh, fingerboarding is not cool. But now, whenever I was young, that was a different story.
Yeah, it was definitely my parents, if you guys have ever like listened to any other podcast or any stories on my background, like my parents didn't let me skateboard. And so I am probably one of the few fingerboarders that have never skated. And so like for me, like, all the real skateboarders were like out there like, breaking elbows and getting teeth knocked out and scraping knees and all kinds of cool stuff. And here I am like, kitchen table in it. So it's definitely levels to it for sure.
I don't know. You can still get some splinters from some wooden parks that are more homemade.
Yeah, there's definitely some injuries. I've gotten splinters on outdoor banisters and stuff like that. So I mean, you can get injured. You can get injured.
It's not to the same level, but I don't
No,
know.
for
If you get a splinter and don't take care of it, it can get pretty bad.
no, definitely take care of those splinters, guys. Oh man, that's funny. So we are, man. So we're like 30 days out from Atlanta. We're by the time this comes out, we're like 2 weeks out from Chicago. So we are basically getting ready to be like knee deep in the summer tour this summer. So I am excited. It's like fingerboarding summer camp for me. I get to travel the country, meet all kinds of cool people like you. We've got Chicago happening May 28th, and we've got Atlanta happening June 4th. And so we're off to the charge. Definitely check out the schedule. Definitely pick up some tickets. I am excited. I'm excited to have a front row seat to the best fingerboarding in the country. I'm excited for
I'm
you to have your
also,
first event.
yes, since you mentioned, I'm sponsoring Atlanta and also the event in Draycut. So there will be some of my ledges there for the raffle and Draycut. So
How can I
if you're
forget?
not
Where are
able
my
to make it to
manners?
the one in Atlanta, yeah, if you don't make it to the one in Atlanta, if you're closer to the event in Draycut, which that's going to be where the flat face uh, building is, Mike Schneider and all them.
Yeah, Mike
Uh,
Snyder and Company. We got the Flat Face building. We're taking over. We're actually hosting competitions at Mike Snyder's spot, which is, I don't actually know if it's ever been done or not. We'll have to get with him, but it's going to be magical for sure. We've got all of his parks mixing in with all of our parks. And so we're talking about like possibly a Voss 2.0.
yeah, Mike has done a lot for the fingerboarding scene. He's what some people consider the Tony Hawk of fingerboarding.
He's been doing it for a very long time at a very high level. I would consider him to be like the LeBron of fingerboarding, basically. Like he's putting on 20
Mm,
solid straight years at a high level. I don't think anybody can pretty much kind of argue that for sure. So shout out to Mike.
yeah, yeah. Shout out to Mike Schneider, legendary guy. Hope to
So
meet him someday.
you gotta right. I mean, you can always follow us back because as soon as we leave Atlanta, we're pretty much heading out to Draycut. So we got a spot in the truck. You can always ride along.
I don't think I'll be able to get the time off from work to prove, sadly.
No, I understand that for sure. I'm already kind of tiptoeing with my job as well this summer. So we'll see. We'll see. You got any shout outs that you
Yeah.
want to give out?
I do have a couple people I want to mention. There's this guy, I don't know if you've heard of him, No Comply Fingerboards, Todd Cudzort. You know, he's an OG. He started coming back to the fingerboard scene after he shut down No Comply at the Pop Factory. That was his physical location where he hosted events and stuff in the 2010 era of fingerboarding. Uh, he's bringing back his wheels, his iconic wheels. Um, he had these wheels called lab wheels, no comply lab wheels back in the 2010 timeframe. He's bringing them back. He's got some new wheels that he just dropped recently called NoCo Halos.
Hmm.
Those things are buttery smooth wheels. Um, Definitely check out No Comply fingerboards. Also, I have one of my friends over in the UK, Jamie at Whoosh Fingerboards. Um, I know I'm doing a thing with Runaville, but I still, I ride multiple decks. I'm a fingerboarder first before I'm a businessman. And I will say Jamie makes some top tier decks too. He recently reached 6 years of his company,
That's
and I'm
impressive.
really happy to see it. I've been, I've got a, I've had Whoosh decks for the past 5 years. I have like six or seven of them. Uh, I have quite a few Runaville decks too. I think I have like four or five Runaville decks. I mean, just no comply, Whoosh, Runaville, go check them out. Um, who else do I want to mention?
Todd
Uh,
is a good dude. He's actually local to me. I'm not exactly sure how far out from Indianapolis he is, but he came by, gave me a visit when we still had our shop last year, and so I got to actually meet him in person, which was pretty big honor.
yeah, I was talking to him about it. He mentioned that he talked to you. Um, you should have him on here, see if he wants to.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna have to add him to the list.
I mean, you gotta remember Todd's an OG. When you think about if you know companies that existed in that time frame of the 2010 time frame, No Comply was one of the big ones. It was,
Yeah,
you had Black River, Flat Face, No Comply, you know, Berlin Wood. I mean, those were the big companies at that time.
yeah, they were definitely. I mean, it was definitely the Wild Wild West back then. It was some pretty big companies kind of leading the charge, and then there was like just not a lot of documentation on it. And so when you're trying to do like your research and kind of look back and see how the early days and stuff like that was, it's pretty undocumented. But anybody who's been around for that, they'll tell you like this is the key people that were kind of doing things.
Well, I'm bringing back Finger Skate Selective. He reviewed a bunch of decks and stuff from different companies. Um, he used to ride a lot of decks from Affliction Fingerboards. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
It's
Uh,
very vaguely running like I'm vaguely kind of catching that as a memory.
so Affliction Fingerboards, he was making wooden obstacles at the time. They were on quality with Black River, birch plywood. I mean, some of the stuff he was making was nothing like what Black River was doing. I still have my old Affliction ramp that I had. It was this kind of like this pyramid with a wall on the back of it. And that was like my first big fingerboarding obstacle. And that thing was awesome. I wish Phil would come back. Like, how Todd came back. Now I wish Phil would because he made some really cool decks. Um, Actually, I kind of ask if anyone has an old school K deck from Affliction Fingerboards. Um, I will snag that thing from you.
You heard it here. If you got one, sounds like Jacob's gonna throw out some trades or some cash.
Yeah, because I know some people would have them. Some of the bigger fingerboarders that have been on YouTube still have them. Yeah, but there was a lot of companies at that time. A lot of people were making decks. It's just crazy.
There's some collections out there for sure. Some people with some crazy 10, 15-year-old decks, like from just past companies. Some existing, some not. I know a guy, I can't remember his handle it was. I should do a shout out, but he's got like some wrinkler wheels, like still brand new in the package, along with like all kinds of just
Ooh.
crazy vintage decks. Yeah. And I'm like, say
Yeah,
what?
I can't remember her name, but I know she owns Freestyle Fingerboards. She has a insane collection of vintage fingerboards from that time frame. Uh, like an insane collection, just stacks and stacks and stacks of decks. And you got a box just full of old flat face and Black River boards. I mean, she's sitting on a gold mine.
Oh, I bet. There's a guy, his name is Markov. His last name's not coming to me. Even if it did, it's hard to pronounce, but he's out of the Minneapolis area. And he has the largest fingerboarding collection, Guinness Book of World Records. I'll definitely put his handle in the description for you guys, but he has a compound, but he's got like, a room in his house that's pretty much kind of like a bonus room. This thing is probably, I want to say it's massive, like 1,000 square feet, and it is literally nothing but fingerboarding obstacles and boards and decks and handboards, all original, all in the packaging, never used, just boxes stacked on top of boxes. I think he said he had something like 30,000 units or something like that. I don't know the exact number, so forgive me if
Ooh.
I'm speaking not real facts, but it is definitely it's it is like insane just to be in that room and just flipping through things and just seeing what he's got. It's nuts.
Yeah, that's how Todd is too. He has a bunch of old, like he has some stuff from Tech Deck, even some originals, like unreleased press model stuff of like those original 32 millimeter longboard trucks.
I
If you don't know
remember
if you know
those.
about those
Yeah.
with the independent base plates. Uh, he has a bunch of old school stuff. Um, who else am I thinking? Oh, I was gonna mention Laughing Skull Dimensions on Instagram. Uh, he used to make these wheels called acid drops. Those things were amazing. They were insanely grippy. If you like grippy urethane fingerboard wheels, they were made from skateboard wheels.
I know who you're talking about. He also does a lot of skateboarding stuff too, if I'm not mistaken. His
I
channel is pretty diverse.
Yeah, he does a lot of stuff about BMX. He likes
Yeah.
to ride bikes. Um, I was also I'm kind of going back and forth between topics. Hopefully, people can follow along. Uh, Todd makes finger roller skates,
I've seen those. I think he brought a
the Revos.
pair. I don't know where I've seen them, but I've seen them. I don't know if he brought them into the shop or someone got them from him or his site or whatever and brought them in. But those things are pretty cool. And they're heavy duty too.
He
Like they're pretty legit.
Yeah, he just started making those again. New designs, everything. Some of the stuff's been redesigned. I mean, they have dual bearing wheels. I remember the hype around dual bearing wheels back in the day too. Sadly, fingerboarding, I don't think it's made for dual bearing wheels.
I missed out on the whole kind of launch of that, just being kind of absent, but coming back and seeing those, their wheels are heavy too. So it definitely weighs down your deck when you're doing with the dual bearings.
I know cartwheels, they originally started with dual bearing wheels. I know Yellowwood, they have dual bearing wheels. Um, Mike at Flatface, he was doing it for a little while.
I don't know if he's
You
still
gotta
doing it or
have,
not.
he probably still has them listed on the website, just sold out.
Gotcha. I'll have to hit him up.
Yeah, if you want to have a real blast from the past with fingerboarding, some of the bigger fingerboarding websites, go to the Wayback Machine and check it out. You can see some of the stuff from the old days.
Huh. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out.
There was some stuff that was, I think, can't remember. I think he had deck molds on flat face at one point in time, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure. We'll have to get Mike on the line and figure out some of this
Yeah,
old history that's been going down.
Mike knows all about that, I'm sure.
Definitely. That's definitely gonna be an exciting episode for sure when that goes down.
Yeah,
All right,
having Mike
Jacob.
on anywhere.
No, you're good.
Yeah, having Mike on a podcast would be cool.
I feel like he's probably like the most interviewed person in fingerboarding. And so, like, as much as I want to have Mike on the podcast, I'm almost like afraid to just be like, oh, it's so generic to have Mike on the podcast. So we get Mike on the podcast, it'll definitely be a spin. It'll definitely be an interview. I wouldn't even say an interview. It's more like just, two dudes having a conversation, but it'll definitely be a conversation that has never been recorded before.
You got to find the right questions to ask him.
It's all about the
You
right
gotta
questions.
you gotta do a Nardwar level research on Mike.
Well, it's just a matter of just drawing out all of this vintage information, all of this like early days stuff. He's got like such a huge just wealth of knowledge that like he could do a podcast and absolutely kill it. Just him rambling about like the old days. I mean, I'd listen to that.
And there's a lot of these really cool companies that are trying to come back, and not everyone's heard of them. There's a lot of hype in fingerboarding.
There's
A lot
too
of hype
much
companies.
hype in fingerboarding. There's a lot of hype companies. There's some of them live up to their name. Some of them are kind of like, I don't know. I don't see what you guys see. And then there's some companies that, they're not even categorized as like being a fingerboard company. They're more categorized as like art. So I mean,
Yeah,
I'll throw out a name. So if you guys want to like, give me some hate, definitely hate me in the comments. But like Whoop, for instance. Whoop is definitely a huge hype company, but like a lot of people, I feel like either you like them as like they're to me they're art. I don't see them as like fingerboarding. Like yes, it is a fingerboard, but like everything is hand painted and stuff like that. So to me, you're buying a piece of art. You're not really buying a fingerboard. And so for the cost, for the price, for what they do and what they are, they're hyped up way high if you're a fingerboarder, but if you're looking at it as art, it's like, it makes sense. And so depending on, there's just a lot of other companies and stuff like that that I can definitely go on and on and on about, but there's a lot of hype companies for sure.
there is one company that his decks are like art, but also extremely functional. Collinswood. You ever heard of
Yes.
him?
Yes.
I have a Collinswood lava lamp deck. That thing is gorgeous. I might have to get him to make me one with a regular popsicle shape
His
because
stuff is
this one's
fire.
got it's more of a wakeboard style shape, and it's depending on the shape of the deck, it may be more functional than others, but his stuff is just gorgeous. He wood burns and paints and everything. He's from Alabama, I believe.
I'm actually not sure
So
where he's from.
I think he's from Alabama because I was talking to him. I mentioned the event, and hopefully he comes out. It'd be
That'd be
pretty cool to
cool. I
see
would
him
love
there.
to meet him.
Also, I like to mention Savannah Sitting Duck 144. I think that's what it is.
I think it's
Yeah,
422 maybe.
422. I think so. Yeah, she was someone from the early days of fingerboarding. She had a big channel at the time. She makes really good polycarbonate decks. My girlfriend has one. That thing feels amazing. It has really good pop. It's definitely not a tech deck, that's for
No,
sure.
her stuff is fire. I've actually had the opportunity to meet her a couple times. I met her at the Atlanta event last year. I'm going to assume that she's going to be at the Atlanta event this year. So if you're going, you'll definitely get to meet her. Not throwing any pressure on her or anything that I've announced her arrival, but I met her twice at rendezvous and stuff as well. She's a cool person. She's always got a happy-go-lucky smile. She's super just chill, laid back. Always got the camera, always filming. Like just love her as a person.
Yeah, I remember her making videos all the time. I used to watch her videos. Glad she started a company because I mean that clear crystal grip tape she makes is just
It's good. It's a little
mwah,
sticky for me,
chef's
but it's
kiss.
good. It's good.
I just get a little dirty. It works pretty well.
It
On a
almost
mellow
works too
board, it's
good.
pretty nice.
Yeah.
If you have more of a mellow board, it's perfect. Or if you have any of those weird like shorter decks. I know Stay Tuned Fingerboards. I don't know if he makes decks anymore. I haven't really heard much about it. He made these like 50 millimeter boards, 60
Oh
millimeter.
yeah, Goo makes
They weren't
one. I know
they
somebody
weren't
else makes them
wide, they
too.
were short.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah,
little
they
stubby
were
boards.
yeah, I have a couple of those. It was really fun to just pop out and have a little sesh with.
It's weird how functional they are for being so small.
I prefer kind of shorter wheelbase decks.
I like a shorter wheelbase. I'm a 34, 35 by 96. Like I can't really go longer than a 96. That's kind of my thing.
Hmm.
Definitely. Any last shout outs?
Um, no one that I can really think of. I will mention Scott at Dynamic. I haven't really had the pleasure of talking to him. With Joy Colt, buying Joy Colt, I'm quite excited to see what he's going to do.
That's some of the craziest news of 2023, to be honest with you. When I heard about that, I was like, there's no way. Then he confirmed it, and I was like, what? So it'll be interesting to see what he does with the company, the brand, all the recipes for, wheel designs and materials and stuff like that. And so I'm not sure if he's going to mix and match it with his own brand, some dynamic, Joy Cold collab, stuff like that. He can go like a million different directions. So it'd be exciting to see like what he does in the future with that for sure.
I will say that Joy Colt urethane was really good urethane. Like it just feels great. It's like a perfect happy medium in my opinion. I have a lot of Joy Colt wheels. I have a whole lot of those. Um, like 20 something sets of them.
That's crazy. Yeah, we've had some people in the shop that have had them, so I've got to experience them myself. I like them. I got on, back in the fingerboarding in the later part of his career, and his career kind of went downhill a little bit. And so long wait time, stuff like that. So I never really got a chance to go out and actually purchase and own my own set. And so I'm excited to, hopefully Scott with Dynamics can take it over and I can get back on board.
Yeah, I mean, when I tell you that urethane was good, it is good. Um, I never really had any problems with it. I know a lot of people did. I never had any problems with
If you
Joy
got
Colt
in
except for that one.
early, like, you had great experiences. But if you got on like the last 2 years of his, like, him owning it as a company, it was pretty rough patch there.
Yeah, after 2020, it was kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
Um, I, I remember he was doing some cool stuff though, like a year five, like a gold ring. He had merchandise like shirts and stuff. Um, and that's really cool. If you got a fingerboard company, you also got, merch and stuff. You can like buy hats, shirts, all that. That's pretty cool to see. I know Slush Cult does that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I got to meet with him at Rendezvous and chit chat with him a little bit and stuff as well. He's an interesting dude. I like him. He's kind of pioneering like fingerboard retail. I mean, he is in like 50, 60, 70 zoomies. I don't know the exact count, but I mean, he's literally like all across the nation, like in zoomies. He's got like his own
Oh, he
switch
has
code
it in
boards and all
Zoomies?
that. Yeah, you can go to zoomies. If you have to go on like his site, there's like 50, 60 locations that he's in, but you can actually get some Slush Colt gear and fingerboards and stuff through him at zoomies. And so,
I
I
did
mean,
not know that.
yeah. So for fingerboarding, I mean, you're talking about like physical retail, like, it's usually just Hot Wheels, Tech Deck, stuff like that, and Walmart, Target, blah, blah, blah. But like an actual fingerboarding brand, like being in retail is huge. And that's one of the things, like, no one's even talking about. It's like the fact that, like, he's paved that way for fingerboarders to theoretically get on a mass scale like that and reach into retail. So that's impressive. So big shout out to Slush Cult for sure.
Oh, and I will mention a local sax tape.
I like
He's from
him.
Memphis, Tennessee. I've not had the pleasure of meeting him, uh, but he is a local to the Memphis area, so I'd mention him.
Yeah, he's a
And
cool dude.
hopefully,
He came out
I'm
to the Atlanta
hoping,
event.
yes. I did get some of his grip at one point. There was a local indoor skate shop called Society Memphis. He had some. They actually had like fingerboard stuff in their shop whenever they had a shop there that wasn't owned by the skate shop. I mean the skate park. So now they don't have the fingerboard stuff, sadly. Like they used to have Black River trucks and flat face wheels and all that stuff. It was pretty cool. This was like 20 2019, 2020 era, right before COVID and everything.
Yeah, back in the day. Seems like not that long ago. That's almost 5 years ago.
Yeah, almost. I mean, it is 2023. So,
I know, that's crazy. Well, right on, Jacob. I want to thank you for coming on to the show. Tell people where they can find you. Can they find you on Instagram? They can find you.
they can find me on Instagram. I have my fingerboard account. I have two accounts for fingerboarding. I have Snuggle Pup FB, which is Snuggle Pup. Well, Snuggle, yeah, Snuggle underscore Pup F underscore FB, and then I have my main Instagram for fingerboarding, MTRX underscore tactical underscore FB. Uh, that is my just where I post regular fingerboarding content. I kind of do little reviews on decks and I make posts about things. I like to take really pretty pictures of all my setups and things. I just talk about fingerboarding in general on there. I share people's clips and things like that too. Um, I've been doing that with the Snuggle Pup account, sharing clips, just tricks that blow my mind. That's but the Matrix, the MTRX tactical is where I have my, just normal fingerboard content. So if you
Okay.
want to just talk about fingerboarding, hit me up. If you want to talk about Snuggle Pup and the event, hit me up there. I like to keep them separated so I can be a businessman and be just a consumer too at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. So two accounts. So basically a professional account and a personal account. So definitely hit him up. We'll have his links in the descriptions, both on the audio and on the YouTube channel as well. And so once again, man, thanks for coming on the podcast. It's been a absolute pleasure.
Thank you. I'm glad to be part of fingerboarding history. Put my little stamp on things.
Right on. Till next time, guys.